Friday. How is everyone doing? Good to see you all. Let's say hello to a few of you real quick before we start. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is mostly for you than for myself. I do have something that I want to share with you today. However, I want you all to share with everyone any questions that you may have or anything that you want to share with the community. And you can do that by putting it all in caps before I even start saying hello or anything like that. This is the very last day that you have, Miss Alyssa Campbell, 1958, to claim your Opus 1800. This is the longest it's ever taken for me to try to give away a solar generator for free. I went and finally found the comment that you left on the video, which made you the winner of the Opus 1800, and left you a reply. If I open my computer on Sunday morning. And the reason is because on Saturday, I don't come to the bunker. It's family day. So if I open my computer this Sunday morning when I come into the bunker and I don't have an email from Miss Alyssa Campbell claiming her Opus 1800, I will just end up giving it away probably during our next live stream. All right. Having said that, let's continue. So, Yarn Prepper, how you doing? Good to see you. JT, Jan is in the house. How are you doing? I saw someone earlier, I forgot who it was, who said something like on the comments, are we in the right place? Because I don't see very many people here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is my opinion, but I think it's more than opinion when I really dig into it. This channel is, in my opinion, being shadow banned pretty badly. It rarely goes recommended whenever I put up a video. My viewership has probably dropped by about 80 to 85%. And the reason is because the recommendations, whenever I put up a video or a live stream, only go out to maybe 10% of my viewership, of the community members that are here in the Alaska Prepper community. So even though my subscription numbers go up, right now, I think it just turned over 216,000. YouTube rarely recommends any of my videos. So a way that you can help with that is to fight back against the algorithm that is obviously working against this platform right here, and give the videos a like if you like it. If you don't like it, give it a no, give it a thumb down if you don't like it, because even that still helps. Right? If you really want to help a lot, let the video run all the way through, ladies and gentlemen, because that's the only thing that we can do that I know that will try to correct the problem over time. That is why probably there's not that many people here. You've probably noticed that during our live streams, there's not that many people. It's because a lot of people just don't get notified. All right. So anyways, having said that, let's say hello to Michelle Glavin. How are you doing? And today I'm probably going to get in trouble. And I just said that we just turned over 216,000. It may turn back the other way after today's video, because I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are going to get triggered by some of the things that I have to say. But the truth is the truth, ladies and gentlemen. And tomorrow's video, tomorrow's news video, make sure you catch that, because, well, I'll just leave it at that. It's already up on the Patreon and on the ladies and gentlemen's club. It's already up there, but tomorrow it'll be released to the public. And it's one that I would say you definitely want to catch and definitely share with everyone else. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get really serious about what we're going to do going forward as far as our preparations and our own preservation, not only as a we, the people, but as a nation. Again, let me digress real quick and say hello to Amazing Grandma. How are you doing? Netcree Paul, how are you doing? Good to see you. Kim's Cluckers, hello, how are you? Hawksbury Ryder, how are you doing? Good to see you all the way from Ohio. Very nice to see you. Bonnie is in the house. NC, hello. Oops. Lau Peter. Let's see. Lau, if you have anything you want to share, put it all in caps, ladies and gentlemen. That way I can catch it. Sometimes I get lucky like this right here. Did you read the news about Putin claiming it was a mistake? Yes, I read that, and I've talked about that here in the last week or two after seeing this on the news and people asking me about it. And my attitude towards that is the same as pretty much with anything else. Is there anything that I can do about it? Not really. We'll have to cross that bridge when we get there. However, the best thing that I can do is to stay prepared, get more prepared than I am now, and be ready. Just be ready for anything, ladies and gentlemen. Especially not only against outside forces, but looking into inside forces as well. Because it seems that here in these United States of America, it's the inside forces that has done our nation more harm than those of outside forces. Not saying that those don't exist, they definitely do. I believe that right now in the US, we are having somewhat of a cultural revolution, and it wasn't done by happenstance, ladies and gentlemen. It was done on purpose. The same thing that we in the US have done to other nations throughout the decades, where we have done or helped with cultural revolutions around the world, they're doing to us and have been doing to us for a while. What do you think TikTok is all about? I heard somewhere that in China, that they don't even allow their kids to watch the same TikTok content that we watch here. I have no idea what's on TikTok, with the exception of what I see like on YouTube Shorts and stuff like that they pull from there. But from what I understand, in China, they encourage their children to study. They encourage them to be more traditional and all that kind of stuff. Is China the system that I want to live by? No. But what I'm getting at here is that we are being attacked, and most of the people don't even know it, right? And we've been divided. And even though we've been divided, most of us don't even know that we've been divided for some reason. And when I say us, I just mean in general. Okay, I don't mean you. I don't mean me. We are pretty much awake. If people on these types of platforms have pretty much already woken up, but we have been divided. So even people that hate the other side, most of them don't even know why they hate the other side. They've just been told to do so. So we are under attack right now, ladies and gentlemen, and we do need to keep preparing and stay prepared. Continue to fill in those gaps. That way, when you need those preps, they will be there for you and your family. I hope that you all watched the video that I put up on those canned meats that last forever. Well, ladies and gentlemen, go watch that video, because in a way, it's kind of true. When you say forever, it maybe loses some people as hyperbole or clickbait or something like that. But in all honesty, what I mean by forever is that it'll pretty much outlast you, right? And according to the USDA, if you go watch that video, even the USDA says, hey, listen, a can of pretty much anything that has been properly processed will pretty much outlive you, right? As long as that can or that container maintains its integrity, all right? But anyways, I digress on that. Let me say hello and thank you very much. Oh, look at this, Surviving Behind Liberal Lines. How are you doing? Thank you very much, Surviving Behind Liberal Lines. Gifted 5 memberships to the Ladies and Gentlemen's Club. Thank you for that. Very generous. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, Ali, how are you doing? Good to see you. Lisa Foster, how are you? Let's see. Moldy Soldier, how are you doing? Good to see you. Well, very nice to see you here today. Now, who's your pioneer? How are you? North of the 52nd is in the house. Evita, how are you doing? JR, my brother, how are you? Good to see you. 312 Chicks, how are you? I am going to show you, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care what people think about what I'm about to show you. And like I said in the beginning of this video, we just turned over 216,000 community members. It might turn back, because I understand how easily people are triggered. But you have to understand what we are living through right now, at least in the United States and in other Western nations. The Western nations of this world are purposefully being sabotaged, ladies and gentlemen. That's what's happening. Just take a look around. Take a look at all of these other nations in Europe and look and see what's going on with them as far as inflation, as far as immigration, as far as them trying to take away their own ability to produce food during a time in the world where the World Food Program says, listen, we're going to have famine. Can you imagine that? The World Food Program, which is supposedly an organization that tries to help those that are starving, right, and they have food insecurities, they tell the world governments, hey, we're going to have famine. So what do the world governments do, especially in the West? They're like, hey, let's go ahead and shut down our farms because nitrogen is bad. But we're going to have famine, says the World Food Program. And the government say, oh, yeah, let's go ahead and get rid of energy also, because even though energy equals calories and it helps to feed people, without it, people can't eat. That's bad. Why? Because it's bad for the climate. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we live in opposite world. And if you don't prepare, these criminals are going to end up getting the best of you. Right. So if you believe everything that's going on with the climate, with all of these, wars that's going on, go ahead and believe it. You can believe whatever you want, but do yourself a favor and get prepared. And the clip that I'm going to show you, now, heck, I'll just show it to you here in a minute. The clip that I'm going to show you, ladies and gentlemen, you may not believe me, but it's not politically motivated. It's just the truth. I came across this short clip. Well, actually, I made the clip, but I came across this video that's, I don't know, how old is it now? It's 2024. It's about 7 years old now, roughly 7 years old. I came across this video and I took a short clip off of it to share with you. And the reason I believe it's so important, it's because it's the reason why the establishment wants to get rid of this person. There's a person that everyone knows, and this establishment, meaning our rulers, right? Those people that want to rule over us, not only here in the United States, but all over the world. They've been trying to get rid of this guy any way that they can. And now I know exactly why it is. Well, let me go ahead and see if you can tell me for yourselves why. Let me go ahead and if you had any questions or anything like this up in here, go ahead and save them and repost them after this clip and we can talk about it. Jeff Kozix, how you doing? Good to see you. Let me see. Shannon, how are you? There you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. No notification. All right. So if you want to help out, please help out by sharing. Please help out by coming and watching the videos. Help out by letting the videos play all the way through. Frontier Preppers in the house. How you doing, Billy? Hersey Trucker or Trucker Hersey, how are you doing? Look at that. Yarn Prepper says, after watching your canned meat video, I bought 2 cans of Keystone meats dated December 28th. That's awesome. And on top of that, it's going to last years on top of that. So there's no reason, ladies and gentlemen, why you shouldn't be preparing the best that you can. Man, I'm telling you, we can get through this, and we are going to get through this. I'm telling you that we are right now. Let's see. Bring it to the bottom. Ann Palmer from the great state of Louisiana. How are you doing? Let's say hello to Mr. Jeremiah Mathis, of whom I haven't seen in a while. How you doing, Jeremiah? Very nice to see you. Very nice to see you. Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, do not get triggered by this. It's no longer about politics. It's never been about politics for me. But you have to understand, why is it that for all of these years, the establishment has been trying to get rid of Donald J. Trump? There you go. This live stream has been demonetized. All right. So if you want to support what I do, take a look at the links that I affiliate with, and that will help, ladies and gentlemen, only if you're going to buy the stuff anyways. The establishment has been trying to get rid of Donald J. Trump for one reason and one reason only. Not because he tweets bad, right? Not because he says nasty things, right? Not because he's a mean orange man. Not because of that. This, in my opinion, is the reason why there has been an effort to get rid of this man since day one, or actually since before day one. You go ahead and listen for yourselves.
We are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government, while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. Politicians prospered, but the jobs left and the factories closed.
And ladies and gentlemen, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, but you have to ask yourselves a question. Are the words that came out of Orange Man Bad's mouth true? I believe they're 100% true. When the politicians pass policies that affect you, the people, we the people, but it doesn't affect them, what they're doing is effectively writing laws that protect them against you or we, the people. And that's not the type of government we want. It's not the type of government that our founding fathers brought into this great nation. The type of government that they brought into this great nation was a republic and still is, at least on paper. But unfortunately, we have become a democracy in practice. And what you have to understand is that a democracy is, in my opinion, the worst form of government. Why is that? Because it gives the 51% rule over the other 49%. Why in the world would it be that a small group of people, or 51%, right? It's actually the larger group of people, be able to tell the smaller group of people how they can live their lives? It shouldn't be that way, ladies and gentlemen. But our politicians have made it so, with the help of big corporations buying their souls, with the help of multi-billionaire people who buy their souls, who whore themselves out to these corporations and multi-billionaire, sacrificing we, the people, and our children's future for their pocketbooks. Donald J. Trump, all right, and this is not an endorsement for Donald J. Trump. This is not a commercial for Donald J. Trump. I haven't been paid a penny to say what I'm saying. I'm telling you what is the truth. Donald J. Trump is the only president, at least that I remember in my lifetime, who has lost net worth during his presidency, where all other presidents have gained. All right, ladies and gentlemen, he's the only president that's been attacked in this form. He's the only president who had friends prior to announcing that he was going to be running for president of the United States that then said he was never my friend. Why? Because they sold their soul. And these people that sell their souls for money, for fame, they don't care about our country and they don't care about us. They care about them and them themselves. So, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that maybe got triggered over watching a short clip of our previous president, ask yourselves, was what he said true or not? Do you have more power today over the government than you did 10 years ago or 3 years ago? No, you don't. Well, how do you gauge how much power you have over the government? It's very easy. How free are you? Are you freer today? Do you have to work less hours today to get the same things that you got 3.5 years ago? Did you see the picture of that oil? I'm going to look this up. Give me a second. I'm going to look this up and I'm going to share this with you. I think I still have it here. Let's see. Boom. Let's do that. All right. So please bear with me. Let me go ahead and look this up real quick. So I'm going to be quiet for a little bit. Converse amongst yourselves. I see some super chats. I will go over them. Okay. I will not forget about them. Let me go ahead and take a look and see. Hopefully I still have this here. And then again, maybe I don't. Unfortunate if I don't. Let's see. Maybe it's over here somewhere. Well, it doesn't look like I have it anymore. I might have erased it because it was filling up my computer. Let's see. Boom. No. Don't have it. Okay. Oh, well, that's a shame that I don't have it anymore. Boom. Nope. Okay, I don't have it. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I was going to show you was a picture of, for those of you that don't know, one of the ways that I've been gauging like inflation at Costco is rice, number one, but also olive oil. And I was going to show you a picture that I put up on a video here, I don't know, 2-3 days ago or something like that, of the olive oil that they sell at Costco, which is the one that comes in a 2-pack of 3-liter olive oil. Just a second. I really want to show you this. I really want to show it to you because it's amazing. Let me see. Kirkland olive oil. Let's see if it comes up easy. Here it is, right there. Boom. Okay, let's see. Boom. Okay, like that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's see if we can see this. Present. Okay. All right, so at Costco, this olive oil right here comes in like a 3/4, a 3-liter bottle, and it comes in a pack of 2. All right. So when I first started purchasing this oil at Costco, when they first opened here in Fairbanks, I remember it being like 19.99, like 20 bucks for a pack of 2. Well, ladies and gentlemen, just recently when I went to Costco, I gasped when I saw this. $59.99. That exact same product is now 3 times the price that it used to be about 2.5, 3 years ago. So if you think that inflation is not going up anymore, you better think again. But that's what I mean about empowerment. Your freedom comes, ladies and gentlemen, with your time so that you can do what you want with your time. And when it takes you more time to get those same things that you need in order to maintain your standard of living, you have less freedom. So, whenever inflation occurs, meaning that the government decides to inflate the money supply by deficit spending, what they are doing, in fact, is stealing from you, and not only from you, but from your children and your children's children, your freedom. Well, that clip that I just played you, ladies and gentlemen, has a man saying that no more will Washington be reaping from the American people what they've earned. The American people get to keep what they earn. Now, I know that this system is going to fail no matter who is in office. All right. It doesn't matter who is in office. The system is going to fail because it has a fundamental flaw. And that is that it has to exponentially grow in order for it to stay or to maintain itself. So, in order for our financial system to maintain itself, to be able to continue to work, the debt has to continue to grow. And eventually that will falter just like any fiat currency system has throughout the history of mankind. But not only that, we have other pressures upon the system itself, meaning that other countries and more countries are deciding not to use our fiat currency in order to transact internationally anymore, especially with oil. So they're starting with oil, and little by little, they'll chip away at the percentage of how much the US dollar is used worldwide, internationally, until there is no more Federal Reserve note as the world reserve currency. And when that happens, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're prepared, because it won't matter how many dollars you have. You're not going to be able to buy anything with it. Oh my goodness, AP, you're so melodramatic. You're so doom and gloom. Well, it's happened throughout the history of mankind. Not once has a fiat currency ever survived in the history of mankind. So I think that maybe it will happen again. And I believe that it will be sooner than later. Maybe it won't go to zero, but it will definitely be worth a lot less. So that $60 pair of 3-liter oil bottles that you see today, that used to be 20 bucks 3 years ago, expect to pay $100 for them if our want to be rulers get their way within the next year or two. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time that we really get serious about staying prepared. I know, I'm talking to the choir right now, right? Preaching to the choir. I'm telling you, you need to stay prepared. You need to get prepared. Well, you more than likely are, because you're here. But I always hope that whenever I do one of these videos, whenever I go on one of these rants, that someone that maybe isn't awake looks at it and says, man, even though this guy's kind of goofy looking, he kind of makes sense. I better look into this a little bit more. You know what? On a lighter note, I forgot to show you all that right now it's a lot colder than -29 where I am right now. It's because of where I have the sensor right now. I think I got it covered up by something. But right now outside is close to -40. It is almost like walking. Well, it's not almost like walking. It's literally like walking into a deep freezer when you go outside. I mean, the visibility outside this morning when I took little Miss Alaska Prepper to school was so bad that we were doing like 35, 40 on the highway because the visibility was so bad. Because you know, when you walk into a deep freezer, you open the door and you walk inside and it's all nothing but fog. That's what it was this morning. It was terrible. And it's just super cold. And I've been encountering a lot of the problems that come with this cold weather. And we'll talk about all of those problems here in a minute. Let me go ahead and say thank you very much to Surviving Behind Liberal Lines. Thank you very much. Truly do appreciate your support. And look at that. Surviving Behind Liberal Lines gave another 5 memberships away. Thank you very much. Very, very much appreciated. Let's see. Chris Hill, how are you? Thank you. Just want to say thank you for your content. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you being here. Let's see. Joshua Ryman, how are you? Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. What in the world are you doing surviving behind liberal lines? Thank you for that. Tommy K, thank you. To the letters after EIA. But thank you so much. Thank you. Let's see. Stock up on that forever meat, folks. Oh, you know what? It's easy for me to do that. And see, it's easy for me to do that because I love spam. I think that's what you mean by forever meat. However, again, if you have any doubts, okay, if you have any doubts that canned meats won't last way after their best buy date, ladies and gentlemen, go watch the video that I put out. I think it was yesterday. Was it yesterday or this morning? Something like that. I don't remember. But go watch that video because I eat that meat in front of you on the camera. I eat it. And I think the oldest meat that I ate without warming it up, all right, without heating it up or warming it up, right out of the can, I think the oldest one that I ate was, I think, 9 years old after it was processed. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So go check that out because hopefully it will remind people that, hey, the best buy date is just a recommendation. It doesn't mean that if you don't store these things the right way that they won't last. So if you store them the right way and you keep them safe, they will last a lot longer. And the USDA says exactly what I said. And I left a link to the USDA where they say that on that video so you can check it for yourselves. Okay, let's see. Okay. Thank you again, Surviving Behind Liberal Line. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dale. Yes, thank you very much. It's tragic. You know, I don't talk about these things very much, all right? But I do want to thank every one of you that sent me a message, with your condolences for my brother-in-law, all right? Tough loss, especially because he was so young. But I don't really like to talk about that too much, ladies and gentlemen, because the fact of the matter is that, you know, bad things happen to good people all the time. Okay. So, you know, I'm not going to ask for anything for something that happens to everyone every day, you know, but I do appreciate the prayers that you've all sent me. And I do appreciate your sending your condolences. Thank you so much for that. New Florida Prepper, how are you doing? Florida has had a cold winter this year. New Florida Prepper, are you sure? Because I thought that global warming was all over. Oh, wait a minute. The globe warming is making everything cold. I'm sorry. I probably fell into a trap. I don't think I have anything else that I want to show you, ladies and gentlemen. I just want you to know that I do believe that we are at a crossroads, not only in the history of this country, but in the history of humanity. All right. I believe that we are going to be shifting over to a new era. But I also believe that in order for us to shift over into a time and place where things are better than they are now, that we as humanity have to be informed. We need to understand that there is a bad side. There is a side of evil. But that is not each of us. It's not people that have different ideologies from one another. We can fight with each other all we want, and that's only going to help the side of true evil, right? So what's going on right now is we are having a battle. We are at war from good versus evil, ladies and gentlemen. And the evil is not us, one another. The evil is those that want to control humanity and have their way with humanity at whatever cost. Look at what's going on all over the world. Look at what's going on in our southern border. Make sure you watch tomorrow's news video. All right. Make sure that you watch that, because I show you what's going on. I mean, it's despicable. It really is. It's kind of like disgusting in a way, right? This administration has got to go, right? And that's where I'll leave it at. Let's go ahead and spend the rest of this time just saying hello to one another. And if there's anything that you want to share with the community, please put it all in caps. And if there's any questions that you may have, please put it all in caps as well. How you doing, John? McBean Scottish Fitness in the house. The Alchemist is here. How you doing? Kate DeShong, how are you doing? Good to see you. Let's see. Pantry Mama, how are you doing? Let's see. Pantry Best from 2016 is what I'm using right now. Oh, yeah, from 2016? Spam is awesome. I know some people just hate spam, but I really I don't like spam because it lasts a long time. I don't like it because of any of that, of nostalgia, or I don't like it because of any of that stuff. I just like spam. I always have. All right. I guess you either do or you don't. Look at that. Mario, how you doing, Mario? Mario says, Angry Pepper thinks you got a problem liking spam. Oh, yeah, Mario, by the way, thank you very much. I saw that email that you sent me, and I'm glad that I came across your comment here. If you do want to get some spam on the cheap, ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and shamelessly plug how you can support what I do. A very simple way that you can support what I do, ladies and gentlemen, because YouTube hates me, I guess, all right, is I have an Amazon link, and if you're going to shop there anyways, all right, don't shop there just to use my link. If you're going to shop there anyways, please use my link. It's under the description of my videos, every one of my videos. And what it does is it gives me a few pennies from your purchase instead of sending it to Bezos so that he can build another starship or buy another $500 million yacht. All right. That's all that it does. It doesn't cost you any more to use my link. But spam is on sale right now for like $2.50 a can at Amazon. So if you get, I think they sell it by the case of 12, and it comes out to about $2.50 a can. All right. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go buy some spam tomorrow to fill in some gaps that I have in my pantry over at Costco. The reason is that I'm not buying it from Amazon is because it's in a can, and I don't have very much luck, or haven't had very much luck ordering stuff in a can from Amazon and it not coming back undented or in good shape. So, but thank you very much for that, Mario. Good looking out. Well, Deborah, go watch the video that I put up about the canned meats, and I explained to you, and more importantly, I leave you a link to the USDA site that tells you how long it will last. But I'll go ahead and do the 30-second spiel on that subject. Canned anything pretty much lasts forever as long as the packaging, i.e. the can, is not compromised, no dents, the seal is not broken, it doesn't have any punctures in it or little rust holes, as long as it hasn't been frozen or kept in temperatures that are really high and then really low and then really high. The USDA says that canned goods are fine as long as they don't go above 85 degrees Fahrenheit. My rule of thumbs is nothing above 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So as long as and of course, as long as it was properly packaged. Okay, so as long as all of those factors fall in line, your canned goods will pretty much last indefinitely. The only thing that will degrade with time is the nutrition within them. And when I say the nutrition, I don't mean the macro nutrients, i.e. the fat, the carbs, the protein. I mean the micronutrients, as far as any minerals and or vitamins that product may have had. That's what diminishes with time, and also texture as well. However, as far as it being safe for you to eat, it should be safe for you to eat as long as that container have maintained its integrity. All right. However, on that video, I give you a couple of pointers on what I would do if I had to resort to eating something that was 20 years on the shelf or something like that, because I had to. More than likely, if you're doing it right, you'll never have to eat stuff that's that old because you're rotating through it. And that's what I got to say about that. Okay, let's see. David, how are you doing? Welcome. When the collapse happens, what will happen to our credit card debt? Well, ladies and gentlemen, as long as the ruling class stays in charge, your debt will never go away. All right. And I would say that it would depend at the level of a collapse. If you're talking about just a financial collapse, well, let me ask you a question. Going back to 2008, believe it or not, we had a financial collapse. We had a change in era in financial systems back in 2008. Many people may not know that we did, but we really did. It was a time where the dollar was revalued. It was a time when something that had never been done before was done, and that's quantitative easing, pretty much allowing the Fed to print trillions and trillions of dollars. Many people still believe what they were told by Congress, that it was only about $700 billion that was needed in order for the banks to be bailed out. Maybe here in the United States, but what people aren't told is that trillion and more than $10 trillion was printed out of thin air in order to give to other banks around the world. So what kind of collapse? Well, if it is a coronal mass ejection from the sun that takes out the entire grid for the entire world, it doesn't really matter whether we have or had debt or not. It doesn't really matter, to tell you the truth, immediately, whether we have silver or gold or cryptocurrencies or anything like that. What would really matter in a collapse like that, that would be as critical as like the 1859 Carrington event, would be, are you prepared? Do you have food? Do you have water? Do you have ways to clean water? Do you have medication, over the counter and prescription? Do you have, in a case like that, even more importantly, read the book 1 second after, do you have self-defense, a way to defend not only yourself, your family, but your preparations? That's what would really matter. So I would say that it would depend, David, it would depend on what kind or level of collapse we're talking about, on whether we would maintain our debt or not. Let me see. Storm. Okay, wait a minute. Robert Bates, how are you doing? Good to see you. Tommy Bites is in the house. How you doing, Tommy? Good to see you. John Lies. Let's see. Oh, that's funny. That would be a huge mistake, a very big mistake, ladies and gentlemen. Prep all you want, but those UN soldiers are coming after you. I'll tell you what, the one thing that I believe that, not the one thing, I mean, we're very resilient, but it would be a very big mistake, in my opinion, for any invading force to actually invade on ground. I think that what they are doing now is actually working. Who's they? Those people that hate the United States of America for whatever reason. What they are doing now is working. And what is that? It's what Abraham Lincoln said would happen, that is happening now. And that is, paraphrasing, the United States of America will never be overtaken by force from an outside invader. That if we fall, meaning the US, that it will be from within. So why would any organization, why would any nation, I guess, use their blood to water our lawns? Why would any nations do that, right? By sending in troops or putting boots on ground. They wouldn't. All they have to do is sit back. I mean, look at the last 3 years. Look at the last 3 years. I think that any nation that sends any troops in to try to take over the United States of America, I think they're foolish. All you have to do is let the administration that's there now continue to do what they're doing. And I believe that they were put in place in order to destroy this country, right? And it has nothing to do with Joe Biden, ladies and gentlemen. Does anyone here honestly believe that President Joe Biden is calling the shots? Anyone believe? He's just being used to destroy the country, or to finish the job that was started, decades ago. Anyways, Sunset, how are you doing? Good to see you. YTU, how are you doing? Good to see you. I am YTU. I am moving to Pluto. Well, you know what? The thing is that with all of the craziness that's going on, there's still beauty, right in front of your eyes. It just depends on whether you want to see it or not. What I'm looking at, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I look at the things that I look at is because I truly want to make sure that I die a good death. And I've said that before, to die a good death. Well, how do you die a good death, AP? I mean, what do you mean by that? What I mean by that is that when I'm on my deathbed, I want to know that I did everything I could. I want to know that my children will be able to live a life where they can be free and prosper if they decide to. Right? I want to know that. I want to know that those that I love that I'm leaving behind will be okay. To me, that's dying a good death. I want to know that I did what I felt was right during my life. To me, that's dying a good death. However, if you have no control over your destiny whatsoever, then I believe that, whatever death you die won't be yours, right? Because you didn't live your life. Anyways. Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, their commercials and live streams is just a way of life now on YouTube. All right. I always apologize when I see someone mention it, because remember in the beginning where I told you that YouTube rarely even shares my videos. If I didn't let those commercials or ads come in every 30 minutes or so, they would be shared even less. I just took a look at a video that I put up a couple of days ago, and on average, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not complaining, okay, because I understand this is how the system works. When you talk the truth, you're going to go ahead and pay a price. I'm definitely paying a price for talking the truth, but that's right. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just telling you about it, okay? Before I started getting a little bit heavier on talking about what a hoax, climate change is, and all of these other things that I talk about that really aren't in favor with those that want to rule over us, I guess you would say, right? Because the algorithm knows what it is that it needs to look for in order to shut you up, right? Before all of that, I was probably being recommended per video on average between 350,000 to 750,000 times. Meaning that if I put a video up, the algorithm will take my thumbnail and show it to about anywhere between 500,000 roughly to 750,000 people, right? So I was being, shared a lot. Now it's maybe 10% of that. I'm maybe being shared between 60,000 to 100,000 times. And that's really not a lot whatsoever, because what you do is from that number that YouTube shares your information and your thumbnail and all that kind of stuff, from that number, you have to take out the number of people that actually click on the video. All right. And although it's called a click-through rate, and although my click-through rate is pretty good, it usually averages between 9 and 10%, which is a very good number. Really, really super good YouTube channels have a click-through rate of like, a lot higher than that. But I don't have a super YouTube channel. Mine is just mediocre, maybe around average, right? But that's not bad. But that's how much of a difference it is. So I just wanted to bring that up really quick since I saw that comment. Oh my goodness. Hey, Tommy, we are opposites because I cannot stand, I can eat liver, but I just can't stand liver. The best way that I can eat liver is if I go to Tommy G's, my butcher, and have him incorporate about 10% liver into hamburgers. That I really like. I think it's really good. Joshua says spam, but in moderation, of course. We don't want to get a spam high. Hey, thank you very much, Gene Pease. Thank you. And thank you for being here. Have a great weekend. That is great to hear, Yarn Prepper. Yarn Prepper says, I showed my contingency medical kit to my doctor. He said, save it a long time, that the drugs in there will remain good. That's great to hear. And for those of you that don't know, I am affiliated with Contingency Medical. And the reason is because I believe that everyone in the United States ought to have a few things. Every family ought to have, first and foremost, water purification that you use on an everyday basis. All right. So RO system or gravity fed system that you use on an everyday basis, no matter how good your utility company tells you that your water is. If your utility company tells you, hey, this is the best water in the world, you're never going to get sick from this. This is the best, period. And they show you paperwork saying, look, you see, you should still have a water purification system in your home, right, for regular use, right? The second thing is a generator, a gas generator, a generator that you can control by how much gas you put away. Because although I love solar generators, ladies and gentlemen, you can never control 100% whether there's going to be sun that day or not. Now, I believe that a solar generator is a great complement to a gas generator and vice versa. And you should also have some antibiotics for emergencies just in case, because that's not something that you can get by without, not for very long. If something happens where the systems go down and you can't get to a doctor or a pharmacy that has those medications that you need, right? So that's another thing that I think you ought to have. Everyone ought to have that. Let's see. Okay, let's bring it on down. How you doing, Hedge 774? Welcome. Well, that is a very good thing to do during bad weather time, especially during the winter, where you can use that residual heat from your canner to heat your home. So it's a win-win, right? Great. I love canned beef, or what do you call it? Ground beef. I really like canned ground beef, and I can it both ways. I do it cold pack, and I also do it hot pack. And let me tell you what I use each for. The cold pack, cold pack means, for those of you that don't know, you just take the raw meat and you put it in the jar to pressure can. Okay, so you take raw meat, you put it in the jar. I put a little bit, like a half a teaspoon of salt in there. Then I seal it up, pressure can it. The consistency of that when it comes out, some people say it's like dog food, but I find that that is a great way to equally or evenly distribute the meat when you make sauces. Like, let's say spaghetti sauce, marinara sauce. That meat kind of like turns into it like blends into the sauce really, really good, right? So it equally disperses around the sauce, but it doesn't have very much texture, but it still has your fat, still has your protein, right? And the other way is hot pack, meaning that I cook the ground beef and then I go ahead and put the ground beef hot into the jar and then put a little bit of broth in there. And that retains its texture. So you can probably use that ground beef after you pressure can it, like for tacos and things like that, right? Where you want to have the texture of the ground beef predominantly in that meal instead of it being spread out evenly like on a marinara sauce or something. But yeah, and ground beef pretty much will last just as long as any other meats that you have, as long as you did it right and as long as you store it right. How you doing, Bar King? Welcome all the way from South Carolina. Sins Blue Diamond, how are you? Angela Land, how are you doing? Good to see you. Let me see. Michael, how are you doing, Michael Eversberg? Good to see you. I've been stocking turkey spam. I like turkey spam. It's really good. Canned chicken, corned beef, and ham. There you go. As long as you eat it, stock it up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, stock it up as long as you eat it. Many people ask me, what should I stock up to barter? Just stock up extra of the stuff that you normally use anyways. Why? Because somebody might have forgotten that stuff and you have extra. And if you never need to barter, well, there you go. You already have it and you know you're going to use it. I'm not the type to stock up on stuff for barter that I don't personally use myself. Why? Because what if I never need to barter it? That's room that I'm taking up on something that I may never use. Whereas if it's something that I already use or eat, it's already there. If I never barter it, then I can use it for myself and my family. Pantry only recipes. Hello, how are you? Maida Collins is in the house. How are you doing? Richard, how are you doing? Oh, this is so funny. Spam reminds me of disc brake pads. Briar Patch, how are you? Let's see. Okay. Let's bring it up a little bit. Jeff says, if I'm eating spam, it's because you know that the SHTF. So if you all watched that meat video, cat meat video, this is what I did. I actually did this yesterday. Yep, yesterday morning for breakfast. I went ahead and grabbed the well, we did. It was like a team effort between myself, my wife, and little Miss Alaska Prepper. I diced up the Spam, the Dak ham, and the little sausages. Half of that container. I diced it up in little cubes, and then I fried it all up until they all had nice crispy edges. And then my wife did she cracked about 10 eggs or so, and then she always adds a little bit of sour cream and some spices that she puts in there. And then little Miss Alaska Prepper, she cooked the eggs into the meat, and it came out great. Came out really, really good. And when we were eating that, I was like, man, this is really good. And my daughter was like, yeah, it's good. And I was like, this is how we're going to be eating when the SHTF. Ella, are you trolling me? Are you trolling me? Oh, goodness. So Ella asked, can you do a video on storing long-term cooked bacon? If you watch the video that I just put up on the canned meats, I tell you, I actually open a jar of bacon that I stored years ago. All right. And I do have a video of me actually doing the pressure canning for that bacon. And it actually looks like bacon. It's not just mush that comes out of it. It actually looks like bacon. So go check that out. And it came out perfect. I mean, I ate that bacon on video. I was only going to eat one slice, but I ended up eating 3 because it was that good. Let me take a quick minute to say thank you very much to a few of you that left a super chat. Jimbo, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jimbo. Truly do appreciate that. Margarita Castaneda, hello, and thank you. Thank you very much. Cutting Tool Edge Designer, thank you. You're always very generous. Thank you so much. Early turkey. You know what? Thank you for that, by the way. You know what? Cutting Tool Edge Designer, I was thinking about this year's turkey. Things are a little bit tougher this year as far as YouTube goes. And I know that things are a lot tougher for most people out there. My family and myself are very blessed. And I was thinking this year that the turkey donation, that I was just going to take it on myself and do it on the private side instead of sharing it. Because sometimes, and this might be wrong and it might not be wrong. Sometimes I feel that it's not very fair for me to ask for the Alaska Prepper community members to participate into the turkeys that I give to the food bank or have given for the last few years, when they themselves may need to go ahead and donate those funds to a food bank near them. I think it's very important that before you take care of someone else's house, that you take care of your own. So I was thinking that maybe this year we would go ahead and do that on a private note, and then just use whatever funds I have extra. All right. But, I'll continue to think about that and pray on that. I just want to make sure that people are taking care of themselves. And this is something that I usually talk about early on in the month when it comes to, people having to survive. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a ladies and gentlemen's club, right, which is a paid club. And I have a Patreon, which is like a paid subscription as well. If you are one of those subscribers for the Ladies and Gentlemen's Club and or for Patreon, if you walk in your pantry, or if you're planning on subscribing to one of those, which pretty much the only thing that you get from that, ladies and gentlemen, is if you send me a message, you're like 99.9% sure that I'm going to get back to you. Number one. All right. And number two is that you may get early previews of upcoming videos. Or if I ever put up a video that is very extremely spicy, I'll probably just put it up on there. But that's not that often. So it's not that much. But what I'm getting at is that if you are currently a member or you're thinking about joining, if you walk into your pantry and you cannot tell yourself, man, I'm really well prepped. I mean, I've got enough food to last me a long time. I've got everything I need right now, that if something happened, my family and I wouldn't have to leave our home for 3 months because we have everything we need. If you cannot tell yourself that, please go ahead and stop your Patreon or stop your Ladies and Gentlemen's Club. Stop that until you can. Right? It's more important for me for you to take that $2 or $3, whatever it may be, and spend it on an extra 1 pound or 2 pounds of pasta a month. than for you to go ahead and be a member. It's more important that you're prepared. Remember, you have to take care of your family first, ladies and gentlemen. You have to take care of yourself first, because no matter how good intentions I may have, I can't help you from here, right, ladies and gentlemen? So you have to help yourselves first. So I always like to tell people that if you're thinking about joining that, before you do, or if you're already part of it, make sure that you walk into your pantry and look at it and say, is there anything that I need that I don't have? Now, if you have everything that you have and you have excess funds, and you're also turning some of your excess wealth into, gold and silver, in my opinion, because I'm not a financial advisor, and you want to go ahead and support by doing that, thank you very much. I do appreciate it very much. So thank you. You know what? Trouble Bearsteader, I've never had elk. I've had moose, which is very tasty. I've had caribou. I've had a couple of other things. Believe it or not, I've had muskrat, and it was actually really, really good. But I've never had elk before. Let's see. Okay, all right. I'm just looking. ASR, how are you doing, my friend? Good to see you. What are your thoughts on the U.S. liberating Iran-backed groups? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly what the cabal wants. This is exactly what the people that want to rule over us want. Unfortunately, and of course, our condolences go out to those service members that lost their lives here a few days back. I believe it was 3 of them and about another 20 or 30 that were injured. But ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand that the powers that be, to them, that is a gift. That is what they're looking for. They want nothing more than for us to lose a ship or something like that, for a ship to get sunk, or for a major loss to occur, where the American people will be screaming from the top of their heads, you have to go get them. Send our children overseas. Send them to give their lives for their country, while the military-industrial complex gets even richer, while the wealthy get wealthier and the poor get poorer, because every time there's war or something like war, the government has free reign to print as much money as it wants, which only benefits those that are already rich in assets, and it does never benefits those that have to work for a living wage or for a wage. That's what they want. They want nothing more than some kind of a tea attack to occur here in our nation that's big enough for we the people to insist that they send our children to war so that they can give their lives for their country. That's what they want. And anyone that thinks otherwise is just dreaming. You need to take your head out of the sand. Again, we are coming towards the end of an era. All right. We are actually living through some historic times right now, believe it or not. In 50 years, authors, historians would have written about the time in which we're living now, because we are getting ready to transfer into a new era of time, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Because this human cycle, this fourth turning, is almost over. It's about 3/4 of the way through, I would guess. Right? And we will be turning into a new era of time where we start into the first cycle of the human experience, which is spring, or the first turning, which will be good. And it's supposed to be good. So that, to me, says that good will win over evil. But we have to make it through the battle first. Yarn Prepper, I actually know what that is, if I'm correct in my thinking, because my wife has a little bit of Polish in her ancestry. And punchkis are like donuts that are like, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone. They're like a donut that are like Polish, and they are very good. And I think they only make them seasonally. All right, seasonally. I think around the Christmas time, something like that, is when they make them, and they are very, very good. All right. If you ever have a chance to try one, give it a try, because they're very, very good. Let's see. Let me see how far behind I am. I'm only about 20 minutes behind, ladies and gentlemen. Not too bad. I hope you're all doing great, and I hope you had a great weekend. And remember that if I put out a video that seems doom and gloomy, step back and ask yourselves, is it true? Because There are things that happen that we need to know about, but it's because we need to know about them. It's not because I want to be a doomer and gloomer, ladies and gentlemen. It just is what it is. Kidsy Woodsy says, I am looking into freeze-dried foodstuffs or long-term foods. I've got a lot of, okay, great. Well, Kidsy, what I would say is that this is my rule of thumb. Before I started really investing a lot into freeze-dried foods, i.e. nutrient survival, ladies and gentlemen, the very best freeze-dried food that there is, and not only the very best, but the very most nutritious, right? It has everything that you need in it. So strive instead of just surviving. And of course, I'm pushing nutrient foods because I love them. I love the people. I think that there's nothing else out there as far as nutrition that's even close to nutrient survival. All right. So go check them out. I am affiliated with them. So if you make a purchase with them, I get a small commission. But first and foremost, they are really the best in case you don't know or you haven't had experience with them. But as I was getting before I really started investing in a lot of like freeze-dried foods, I made sure that I already had my pantry full of those things that we normally eat on a regular basis. All right, obviously, except for like produce and like frozen stuff and stuff like that. Right, I'm talking about canned goods, rice, beans, pasta sauce, mac and cheese, all of those things that are terrible for you. Right. Anyways, I made sure that we had at least a 1 year supply of all of those things that we can rotate out. Then I started looking into freeze dried foods. So if kids see, if you're looking into freeze dried foods, go take a look at Nutrient Survival and make sure you use my discount code as well, because I don't only promote them because I'm affiliated with them. I promote them because I think their food is the very best in the industry. Period. It is. Okay, bring it. Yes. M. Palmer, how are you doing? It's good to see you. Shopping groceries online while watching. Anyone ever heard of Butterfield Farms canned beef? Oh, no, I haven't, but that's interesting. It says USA product. A lot of our canned, well, I know that our canned oh, hash brown, the hash brown ground beef. I forget the name of it now. That comes from Brazil. So I know that we do have a lot of canned beefs that come from Brazil. But no, I've never heard of that one. Let me see. Eva Hernandez, how are you? Saludos, igualmente. All the way from Texas. You know what, Randy, to tell you the truth, well, let me read what Randy says in case anyone's not watching. We're heading back to the time of Jamestown. We will be indentured servants and slaves. I mean, when you think about it, we already are. With the monetary system that we have, in a way, we are. With the 300,000 laws, rules, and regulations that have been passed by the federal, state, and local governments, think about it. We kind of like are already. And it all stems down to the financial system. It really does. Some people think I'm crazy when I'm saying it's all about money. It all stems down to this financial system that we have. If it wasn't for this financial system that we have, ladies and gentlemen, where the powers that be can print money at will and bribe anyone that they want and make themselves rich while making us poor, giving them more control over we, the people, then we would have a more fair system. We would have a system where people that are supposed to win will win and people that are supposed to lose will lose. I.e., if you're a huge corporation like SVB Bank, I think it was, Silicon Valley Bank, the one that went under, businesses like that were supposed to lose will lose instead of being bailed out by the government. You see, something that a lot of people don't understand about that bank that failed. I think about a year ago now, almost, right? That SVB Bank that failed is that they broke the law, right? The United States government broke the law with that bank because they wrote law. I think it was back in 2012 or 13 where they said that there would be no more bailouts. There would be no more bailouts, right? To the extent of the FDIC. So that bank, a whole bunch of money in excess of the $250,000 that is covered by FDIC was in that bank when it failed. Now, why didn't the government just let it fail like they said in the law they passed, that there would be no more bailouts, that there would instead be bail-ins, meaning that the people that had an excess of the insurable amount of money in that bank would be bailed in and be made part owners of the bank by taking their excess money over 250,000 and turning it into shares of that bank, and then letting the chips fall where they're made. Well, when they found out, or when they started getting phone calls from their handler saying, hey, I've got excess billions of dollars in there, you have to bail this out, then they bailed it out. Why do I talk about SVB Bank? Because that is a perfect example that we do not live in a free capitalist system. We live in what is a crony capitalist system. We do not have a free market. When the government can say, well, we're not going to go ahead and let this bank fail. We can't let it fail. We have to bail it out, because a lot of our friends have money in there and they're going to lose all their money if we don't bail them out with our money, with the taxpayer money. Right? That's crony capitalism. That's a system in which the government decides who wins and who loses. Right? Anyone here ever claim bankruptcy? Do you know anyone that's ever claimed bankruptcy or filed for bankruptcy, whatever it is? I don't know what is it, chapter 7, 11, 13, whatever it is. Has the government ever come and bailed you out? Well, that bank claimed bankruptcy and the government bailed them out. Why didn't they bail you out? Why didn't they bail out your friend, whoever it is that you know that claimed bankruptcy? Why? Because you, ladies and gentlemen, are not in the club. And the sooner that you learn that, the sooner that you understand that, the sooner that you'll be on your way to making sure that you're prepared for the day when they make you fail, because the system will fail one way or another. There is no doubt in my mind that this financial system, it has to fail. There's no other way around it. And if you're not prepared for that, well, unfortunately, it will be you and your family that pays the price. Let's see. Margarita Castaneda asks, is shopping online hurting the USA retail markets and mom and pop shops? Well, man, that's a great question, Margarita, especially segueing from what I just said. Yes, it does help yes, it does hurt the mom and pop shops. And if you have small business around where you live, I believe that you should support them first. However, I also understand that a lot of people may not be able to. All right. Because unfortunately, since small business mom and pop shops, they are not supposed to win. Right. Who is it that the government closed down during the health crisis? It was small businesses, mom and pop shops. Those businesses are not supposed to win. So they don't get all of the benefits that these big businesses get. So what happens? Usually whatever they're selling costs a little bit more. And a lot of people, being that 70% plus of Americans are now living paycheck to paycheck, they just can't afford to pay that extra cost. They have to go with whatever is the cheapest. And that's not really their fault. It's the fault of the system. You know, we can get to the nitty gritty and say, well, it is their fault. They should have been educated. Ladies and gentlemen, cognitive dissonance is a very hard thing to get by. Very hard thing to get over, right? If you've been taught your entire life that this is a shoe, even though it's a mouse, you're going to call this a shoe. No matter how many people tell you, hey, this is not a shoe, it's a mouse. But you've been taught your entire life, hey, this is a shoe. And even when you realize that, man, this is a mouse, for a long time, you will tell yourself, no, it's not. It's a shoe, because it's what you've been taught. Even though you know it's wrong, you know it's right. I hope that makes sense to you. But yes, we should definitely always support the mom and pop shops, the small businesses and things like that. But there are, in some instances, many people that just can't. I'll give you an example for myself. I would say that about 90% of the stuff that I've ever shown you, I can't get here where I live. I have to order it from a big box store, right? Because I just can't get it, because it's just not available. Right? Or I don't know where it's at, because whatever mom and pop shop may have it, they just don't have the funds to advertise it. So, that's an example coming from me, right? But for a lot of people, they just can't afford to pay that extra 20 or 25% of what it costs. let me go ahead and take a quick second to say thank you very much to Set for Life Club. Thank you very much for the super chat. Truly do appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, let's bring it down a little bit. Oh, okay, here we go. Gracious 48, how are you doing? Good to see you. AP, did the Yuko candles really work? Is it really an option? Well, I can only tell you, ladies and gentlemen, or Gracious 48, I can only tell you what's worked for me. So I think it was last year, right, that I did a video here in the bunker. I think it was last year. It might have been the year before, but it was negative 26 degrees outside. And I lit these 3 Yuko candeliers, and they kept the temperature inside the bunker at about 59, 60 degrees. And those were the only source of heat that I had going on. Those 3 Yuko candeliers. It was negative 26 outside, and inside it kept the bunker at about 59, 60 degrees. Just those candeliers right there that you're seeing behind me. So for me, did it work? Yes. Now, given I built this bunker and I insulated the heck out of it, all right? It's got, I believe it has R28 walls all the way around, which is pretty good for side walls, R28. And the ceiling has like R38, all right? R38 close to R40 because I still put some foam up in the ceiling. So yeah, it's very well insulated, but they did work. And if you saw the video where I used them to heat that cheap little Amazon tent that I was camping out at negative 24, I think it was, they heated it enough to where, in my opinion, you can survive a night if you had to do that. Right. So yeah, they work. And the candles last about 8-9 hours. Okay. My goodness, I can't believe that we're already well past an hour. Oh my goodness. Pantry only recipes. Did your A1C go down with carnivore diet? Yes, it did. My A1C started out at like 9.3, and my last appointment, I think, was like 6.5. So I am right under the diabetic dial. I'm considered pre-diabetic. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I guess it depends what country you live in, because I've seen some other countries where they consider an A1C of below 7 to be good, like for average people. But it doesn't matter. What really matters is how do I feel? I feel great. I've been having a few issues lately. I've put on some weight back from what I lost a while back, which I'm not going to start making excuses or anything. But the truth is, I really don't know why. Maybe it's I need to get more active. I know I'm more active during the summer than I am during the winter, but I pretty much 99% of the time, all I eat is protein, be it beef, chicken, pork, cheese, eggs, bacon, of course, right? Bacon and spam, right? But not all of those things at the same time. But you know what I mean, ladies and gentlemen. Like tomorrow for dinner, we already have tomorrow's dinner plan. What is AP having for dinner tomorrow? I'm having a really nice porterhouse tomorrow that I've had in the freezer for a while. I was like, it's time to get this thing out. That's where we're having that, not just me. But that's mainly what I eat, meat. On the weekends, being that I've been doing this for a little over a year now, on the weekends, I do allow myself to do, like, instead of carnivore, to do like ketovore. So I'll allow myself about 30 or so grams of carbohydrates during the weekend. All right. But during the week, like today, I don't know, I've probably had less than 10 grams of carbohydrates today. Right. And as far as my weight, I want to say I just give up, I want to say I just give up, but it is what it is. I'm not going to whine about it. My health, as far as I'm concerned, is pretty good. Okay. And my sugar, I just did my sugar today. I don't even measure my sugar every single day anymore because I already pretty much know what to eat and how much of it to eat every day. So I just measured my sugar today after I ate. I ate a little bit of stew that my wife made that had some peas and a little bit of corn in it. That's it. Oh, and carrots, a little bit of carrots. So I ate some stew. That's what I had as far as any kind of vegetables. And my glucose level was like just over 100. And this, I think it was 105 or 109, which is really good for right after you eat. It could be better, but I am pre-diabetic. So for being a pre-diabetic, getting 105 or 109 right after you eat a meal or about half an hour after you eat a meal is actually not bad at all. especially if it has a little bit of carbs in it. Thank you very much, Debbie. Thank you very much. I truly do appreciate that. Okay, let me bring it on down some because I am super far behind, ladies and gentlemen. Are you kidding me? I didn't know that. Did you know Miss Lynette Zhang is no longer on ITM Trading? No, I did not know that. How about that? I know that what's her name is on there now, the last that I knew. I have to look into that. I did not know that at all. Maybe that's why my rep from ITM Trading hasn't contacted me in a while. I just thought that maybe it was the holidays. Hey, how you doing, Forrest? Good to see you. All right. Bring it in a little bit. Oh, here, check this out. Ladies and gentlemen, go check out Evita Preps and Cooks, or Cooks and Preps. All right. She has a channel where she does a lot of cooking recipes. And I'll tell you what, they're very good. And she also has her own line of spices. Evita, have you put those spices out for sale yet? Because the spices that she makes are very, very high quality spices, ladies and gentlemen. Colorado Pack Rat Prepper, how are you doing? Good to see you. Jeff Riffle says elk is better than beef. Man, I would really like to try some elk. I'm sorry, but I just love the name. This reminds me of the way my brother talked. Lazy Mofo Prepper. How you doing? I love canned meats, way better than moose and caribou. I mean, I really like canned. What can I say? Pretty much there isn't any kind of meats that I don't like. The only thing that I really don't like too much is organs, right? But I know that organs are very nutrition dense. So if you take a little bit of organ meat and you chop it up and you put it in with your regular meat, you're doing yourself a great justice, in my opinion, that is. Let's see. YTU asked, "Do I have the 1 second after book on my Amazon link?" Well, YTU, if you like audiobooks, I think I do the hard copy. I think I have it on there. But if you want to purchase anything on Amazon, I don't have to have it in my store. You can just click on my link and then look for whatever you want to look and purchase it, right? And it does credit my channel, right? Or it does credit my account. So I appreciate that support if you want to go ahead and support the channel by using my Amazon link. But if you don't want to get the paperback and you just want to listen to it, you can look for 1 second after on YouTube. And the audiobook is on YouTube, the last I knew, and it's free. And you can listen to it on YouTube. So I recommend it. I think it is a great book for the beginning prepper, or for people that you want to wake up to the fact that they need to be prepared. Well, I'm not going to talk about the other books that really got me started. I'm going to talk about just books that are like prepping books, all right, that are novels, but that you can really get a lot from as far as how to prepare and why you should prepare. The very first book that I would recommend is 1 Second After. 1 Second After, because it is a great book and you really can learn a lot from it. And it is extremely entertaining, very entertaining, meaning that if you pick it up or if you start listening to it on an audiobook, you're not going to want to stop. All right. Once you get like past the first chapter where they introduce you to the characters and all that stuff, and it starts getting into the nitty gritty, you're not going to want to put that book down. The other one is a book by James Wesley Rawls called Patriots. That book, ladies and gentlemen, I actually read that book from cover to cover, and it's a pretty thick book, and I could not put that book down. It is a great book, and there is a lot of great information on there as far as preparedness goes. You can learn a lot from that book. I would say those two books, in my opinion, are the two best preparedness, like novel books that you can learn a lot from. But there's a whole bunch more, right? There's a whole bunch more. Just for me, those two are great because they're so entertaining and so captivating that you're going to want to keep listening to it or reading it. All right, let's see. That's funny. Dana says, Dana, let's prep. How are you doing, by the way? Rudy, you seem extra chipper. Did you get some large fresh eggs today? Store eggs are starting to have a little effect on me. I actually got a few eggs from the chickens today. I'm not sure if I shared this with you or not, but we lost one of the chickens here a while back, probably about a month or so ago. Uh, uh, but the rest of them are doing really well, even at -40. The chicken coop is staying probably in the low 30s, so above freezing is staying, and they're doing really well in there. They're eating a lot, all right, and they're just doing good. They're very healthy. The one that died, she ate some insulation. All right. That's why she ended up passing away out there. And chickens are terrible, ladies and gentlemen. Even though she was laying there in the middle of the floor, they were just walking right over her. They didn't care. But anyways, lesson learned. I really felt really bad about it, but it is what it is. And ladies and gentlemen, listen. I know that I even had a friend ask me that. They're like, "Man, you always seem so upbeat and stuff on your channel," and that's not the way I am all the time, right? But my point is this: when I come on here, I'm already coming on here to talk about something that some people may think is doom and gloom, right? You need to get prepared for what, AP? For the end of the world? Well, no, not for the end of the world, but for anything. Why do you need to get prepared? Because for something that's going to happen that's good? No, you don't need to prepare for something that's going to happen that's good. You need to prepare for something that's going to happen that may have a negative effect on your life, right? That's why we prepare. So, I try to keep it a little bit upbeat so that it can balance itself out. And plus, I'm naturally a person that likes to see the good in things instead of just focus on the bad. And sometimes when I talk about this stuff, people may think like, oh my god, you're only focusing on the bad. But the fact of the matter is that I believe that in the end, once this battle is over, that we're fighting, that good will win over evil. I really do believe that. But I also believe that there's going to be a lot of suffering in between. So let me go ahead and bring it all the way down. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you all a couple of the challenges that I've had here in the last week dealing with this Arctic blast and the polar vortex that's been created through global warming, right? So thanks a lot, global warming, for making the world so cold as it is. But in all honesty, so up here, I was thinking about doing a short video on this, but I don't know if people want to see a video about cold, right? About cold weather. But it's been so cold up here this week that there's been a few challenges that we've actually experienced that we haven't really experienced before. And I'm going to go ahead and go with them one by one. The first one is that I wish that I had a way, an infographic to show you, but your tires, right? The tires on your vehicles, the wheels on your vehicles. You know that when you park your vehicle, your tire has a little bit of a flat spot, right? So when you park it, the tire has a little bit of a flat spot, right? When it's sitting. Well, here, when it gets really cold, like -30 and below, -35, -40, when it gets really cold, the steel belts or the steel wires that are inside your tire, they get stuck in that flat position, right? So try to imagine that. Here's your tire, and since there's a lot of weight from the vehicle on the ground, it's got a little flat spot in the bottom. So when it gets really cold, the tire gets stuck in that with that little flat spot. So when you start rolling, you'll hear it go ba-boom, 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 right? Until this tire gets warmed up a little bit from the friction on the ground, and all of those steel wires then again flex into a round tire instead of a flat spot. I hope that I explained that so you understand it. So I'm driving little Miss Alaska Prepper to school here a few days ago, or maybe last week. I don't remember. It was a few days back. And I hear it, boom, and I'm used to it. And I know that all I have to do is just go nice and slow until it starts evening itself out and rounding itself out again. Well, it didn't stop. What happened was it was so cold here, it was below -40, I think like -44 or so, that it was so flat and that wire got so stuck that as soon as I took a turn on that little flat wire, the wheel came off the rim. So I ended up getting a flat tire. So I ended up having to change the tire in -35, -40 degree weather, because my wife and I changed it later on that day. So, changing a tire in negative 35-degree weather, check. That's off my bucket list. All right. So that's one of the challenges that you have in really cold weather like this. Another one occurred yesterday. I went to get a load of water with my Tundra. And when I came back to pump the water into my house, I grabbed the hose that I usually hook up to my transfer tank that's in my Tundra. And when I grabbed it, it broke right in half. So I had to scramble and I had to stop and think, what do I do now? Because I did not have an extra hose that had the same fittings as that. I went ahead and prepped with an extra hose that had the same fitting as the hose that my tank in my truck has, but it's not the same as the one that's going into the house. So I had to think, I had to go into my supplies, and this is why it's important to be prepared, ladies and gentlemen, because a tank of water in the back of your truck at negative 40-degree Fahrenheit, that is a problem. All right, if you don't act quickly. So I went through all of the things that I had under my tent. I found a couple of fittings that I knew that I had, and I went ahead and I jigged up, a hose that did the job. It was able to empty the tank without losing any water, without anything freezing. So it did the job. Now I went to Lowe's early this morning and I bought a few parts so that I can repair the hose that broke, because those hoses are very expensive. I think they're like 20 something dollars a foot or something like that when they fabricate them. Right. So that's another challenge that I went through this week with all of the cold. And another one was that one of our pipes froze. All right. So knowing where your pipes are, knowing what to do if they freeze, that's something that you really want to understand, pretty much knowing your house, whether you built it yourself or not. So my wife told me, hey, the cold water is not working in the kitchen sink. And I'm like, really? So I said, I know that we have plenty of water in our tanks downstairs because I just pumped water into it. And all of the other cold water was working, and all of the other faucets that we have. So I said, it's got to be frozen, right? Because negative 44, negative 45 is not a temperature that we normally get up here. We've only had it one time before here where we live, negative 45. Right. And this is the second year since I've been living here that we've had these frigid temperatures in the negative 40s. So I said, it's got to be frozen. So what I did was, of course, I just grabbed a hair blower or a hair dryer, and I put it in the spot of the pipe where it goes through the wall. Right. And in about 3 minutes, it thawed out. And now what we do is every few minutes, or maybe once an hour, not every few minutes, we'll go in there and we'll just open that cold water up just a little bit to make sure it's not freezing over, and then we're good to go. And we'll do that when it's really cold outside. And as you can see right now, this is showing negative 29. That's showing negative 29 right now, but it's colder than that. It's that my sensor is being covered up by something. I think I put something on top of it. I forgot to take it off. But right now it's probably about negative 40 outside. It's a lot colder than negative 29. So that was the third challenge that we had with the extreme cold weather this last week. The last one is that my heater stopped working in the middle of the night. Another thing that you want to make sure that you understand how your systems work, at least understand the basics. So my wife wakes me up around 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. It's like negative 40 outside that night in specific. And she says, hey, the heater stopped working. It's coming up with a code of E6. And as soon as I heard E6, I'm like, well, that code is either blockage of the fuel line or that there's no fuel. E6 and E2 are usually fuel line blockages, right? Either that or exhaust blockages as well. So what did I do? I had to go outside and troubleshoot and see what happened. And what ended up happening with the fuel, with the heater stopping, is that if I can explain this to you in an easy manner. So let's say that this is the pipe where the fuel is coming in through the wall, right? So here's the wall. Here's the pipe coming in to the inside of the wall. So do you know when you put like a bottle of soda or something like that in the freezer and it gets really, really cold? And when you take it out of the freezer, the soda is still liquid inside, but then you pop the cap. And as soon as that ambient temperature meets the liquid, the soda turns into a slush. You know what I'm talking about? So that is what I'm guessing happened with the fuel coming into my house. The outside of the pipe was negative 40, but the inside was about 64, 66 degrees. So once that fuel made it inside to the warm, I believe it like gelled up, because on the inside of the pipe, there was about an inch of ice all the way around it. So once I figured out that that's what it was, I went ahead and put a small heater on it. The ice sublimated into gas. And ever since then, my heater's been running well. What am I getting at here, ladies and gentlemen? There are some things that are out of our control. But if we are prepared with things, right, like extra equipment, or extra fittings for my pipes, stuff like that, and or with knowledge, that we can overcome those challenges of the things that happen that we can't control. And it doesn't matter if it's here in Alaska, it doesn't matter if it's in the state where you're at. Every place is different, but the fact of the matter is that if you equip yourself with preparations and also with a little bit of knowledge, just enough to get by, you're going to be okay in the long run. Having said that, let me go ahead. Yes, it's all because of global warming. All right. So having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much. I had a great time. So thank you so much for joining in today. I hope that you have a great weekend. I will have a video dropping tomorrow, which is my news video for Saturday. For those of you that don't know, I'm only doing 2 news videos per week, one on Tuesdays and one on Saturdays. All right. And then throughout the rest of the week, I'm just doing videos on whatever I think is interesting. I have a new love for camping stoves. So I'm going to be doing a review video of the smallest camping stove I've ever seen at a very good price. I'll be doing a review video of that probably coming up next week. And then I'm going to be doing some prepping on the cheap videos as well, with some other camping stoves that I found that are extremely great deals, but that's to come. Having said that, again, thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for joining in. God bless every one of you. If you are new here, if you are new to the live stream, or if you are new as far as a new community member because you just subscribed, go ahead and put "I am new" in all caps. And during our outro, I'll go ahead and shout you out so you can see your name on the screen and everyone can welcome you into the community. Again, God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper, and this is the part where I have to find the outro, and I am out. God bless you all. Have a great weekend and be safe.